Show comments live. And then I gotta go over here. Go live.
I guess I'll drink your portion.
What? Oh, no, I want it.
Oh, yeah, that was supposed to be for you. That's why I was saying you.
I got you. Okay, good morning. I need to go live over here. Okay. Okay, we're live.
We did it.
We did it. Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to Coffee with Angel. I'm so sorry I'm late, but it's so no. It's so going to be worth it. It's a road show today. So literally picked up everything that I usually have at home in my kitchen and brought it to Three Keys Coffee. I'm so excited because not only is this our first live remote, because my mother's living room doesn't really count, but this is the first episode of Coffee with Angel, the podcast. So of course, it had to be about my favorite coffee. Y'all already know I've been rocking with Three Keys for a minute. So today, I am so excited that you guys get to meet Kenzel. They have heard a lot about you already, but I'm so excited. Good morning, Shauna. Technical issues? Actually, no, it wasn't technical. It was just, I had a lot going on. I'm a one-woman production show, y'all.
She had it all set up. I was running late as usual because I have 3 children and all types of stuff going on.
Little bitty children.
And so when I got here and saw she was set up in another room, I said, no, we have to move it. You have to see the roasters. You have to see something exciting. So it's my fault. I moved it around because I wanted y'all to see the cool space.
No, honey. They have stopped production for y'all. I just want you to know this is a literal roasting machine. If beads of sweat start across my brow, it is because of the steam emanating from this roasting machine. Is that the right name?
It's a roaster.
Okay.
Roasting machine.
So I just want y'all to know, y'all, this is where the magic happens. I told you I'm in coffee heaven. This is where the magic happens, but they have halted production for a minute just to talk with us. So we're going to get started. Good morning. Happy Friday. If you're new to this community, welcome to Coffee with Angel. I'm Angel, the founder of Maison 276 and creator of the award-winning 3-step system for silver, gray, and blonde hair, a healthy way to brighten, cleanse, and restore the natural brilliance of your hair without purple dyes. We meet here every Friday as a community, and we talk about a lot of things: lifestyle, fitness, wellness, mental health, fashion, the Beyonce concert. I mean, we cover it all, but they're all things that are important to you, the woman who is unapologetically growing bolder. A few months ago, you guys, when I asked for content recommendations, you said you'd love for me to bring on other women entrepreneurs. And so here we are today, episode 1 of the podcast, and I am going to let Kenzel Fallen introduce herself.
Thank you so much for having us here. We've been talking about doing this for a while, and so I'm glad we are finally here. Such an honor to be the first guest. So I am Kenzel Fallen. I'm CEO and co-founder of Three Keys Coffee, based here in Houston. So we're an award-winning craft coffee roastery that's inspired by the arts and sounds of jazz music. All of our coffees have a curated playlist where you can scan the QR code on the packaging and it takes you to the jazz playlist that we've curated with that coffee. And I'm just so excited to be here. It was never my intention to become an entrepreneur. This was a passion project of my husband and mine that just developed and grew legs, and we're just rolling and running with it. But
she went right into my next question.
I didn't know. See, we're already just.
I know. So, Kenzel, you had a thriving career in corporate finance and consulting. How did we get to coffee?
Yes, I was. You make it sound like more than it was.
She's very modest.
But I was working in the banking industry. My most recent title prior to this was SVP of Enterprise Risk for
Senior Vice President. But anyway,
and we were in the middle of a big merger. I had a very demanding role in the integration of that. And so that was around, 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic and everything, going into 2021. But also at the same time, my husband and I are building this coffee business. And so I got the opportunity to be able to get a severance from that, which is great. I was able to get a year's salary, which gave me some time to be able to focus on growing the business. And again, my husband and I, we thought it might be something that, maybe farmers markets types of things on the weekends with the kids. But very quickly we started getting a lot of attention. Trader Joe's reached out to us within our first year. And so we ended up being in 43.
That's like unicorn status, y'all. You already know how long it took us to get to Walmart. That's
quite
amazing.
An accomplishment. You are nationwide.
No. I just needed people to know, like, put some context to that getting into Trader Joe's or any nationally distributed retailer in less than 2 years is bootstrapped.
Right. Completely bootstrapped. My husband and I, we funded this from just our personal savings, but also grant funds. We have been really fortunate to receive a lot of that, which helped to invest in the business. But, all while this is going on, it's still hard for me to completely walk away from corporate America. So even though I had taken the severance, I was still independently consulting. I was still halfway in, halfway out. I didn't want to leave my security net.
That's real.
Yet. So really only as of less than a year have I been 100% CEO for the business. And we're in year 5 of the business. And so,
I think that's one of the most common misconceptions about entrepreneurship is that people just pack up from their jobs and leave. And that may be some people's story, but the truth is that most people are doing both.
Right.
And you're burning the candle at both ends, and you get to a point where it's just not sustainable. Right. And it forces you to make a decision. It forces you to say, am I really in this?
Right.
Am I really going to give it 100% of me and see what can happen as opposed to what's left of me at the end of the day?
Right.
So guys, I am looking in the comments. So I want you to know I got my questions, but I'm also looking in the comments. So please, you guys, drop in questions. I'm going to be going back and forth between your questions and my questions. We're going to get it all in. So did you grow up drinking coffee? Like, were you the kid? Did you see your parents drinking coffee? Like, I want some of that. Like in New Orleans, it's not unusual for children to be given what's called coffee milk. It's like warmed milk and a splash of coffee. So they feel like they're participating in the grown-up ritual of drinking coffee. Did you do that?
Not at all. I feel like I grew up on that whole, they say if you drink coffee, then like you won't grow. And then,
is that what?
Or, they were told with stunt your growth. I don't know, just things that old folks tell you to just not get you to do something. But so my mother is a coffee drinker, but I really did not get into it until I became an adult. Okay. And really the journey was a bit in lockstep with a lot of my love for travel and my husband and I traveling. So we would love to travel, especially a whole lot pre-kids. And
don't we understand that?
Right. We still try to do it.
PK, pre-kids.
It's right. It's not as easy. And we would find ourselves sometimes in different coffee producing regions. And we were, wanting to explore, like go and visit a coffee farm and do things like that. So I think that's what was the initial sort of seed around it, maybe pun intended. Because coffee is a seed of a fruit, which a lot of people don't realize.
You keep talking because this is real time, and y'all see me do stuff at home. I forgot to turn the other cameras on, so Kenzel's gonna continue talking about her travels, and I'm gonna turn the other cameras on.
And so, we would go to these different places, be able to visit and see how coffee was grown, and so that really piqued a lot of my interest. My husband also, he's a mechanical engineer. And so he had started playing around with roasting at home. He was at a watchmaking class actually, and then one guy in the class was talking about roasting coffee, and he's like, "Wait, you can do that yourself at home?" So he started playing around with that. And at first, we thought we would create start a coffee shop. We were thinking about investing in an actual shop, but we really fell in love with the whole idea of the craft and the artisanship around the roasting of the coffee. And so then that's how we, decided to just create this roasting company. Also, even from a financial economics perspective, it made more sense to be in the space where we're in control of production and manufacturing and everything. And so we decided to create the roasting company. We wanted it to be an expression of the things that we love. My husband played the trumpet, and so that's where the name Three Keys comes from, is the valves of the trumpet. And that's where the whole jazz inspiration came from. And I've always been a lover of music growing up. That was the one thing. I didn't grow up drinking coffee, but I was putting my mom's albums on the turntable and listening to music as a kid. And so my kind of part with Three Keys for sure has been with the music and the business side of things. But,
awesome. So she's answered a lot of my questions already.
I swear I haven't looked at
I love this
questions at all.
So on your website, you devote a lot of space to community impact and sustainability. So tell us a little bit about why you felt that was so important, not just to do, but to make it a part of your story and your messaging.
Right. I mean, I think that time is so valuable. And I think that when we invest so much of our time and energy into any sort of project and initiative, and especially a business, we want it to mean something. I think it's always, for me, it never really set right with, creating something just for the money side of it. And really, honestly, if it was just about the money, I wouldn't be an entrepreneur. I'd be working my day job. And so with everything that we did, we wanted to be very intentional and think about what is the impact of what we're doing. And again, my husband having this engineering background, you see a lot of that, what that does to the environment. And so this roastery that we're in is actually solar powered. So we're, to my knowledge, we're the only one in Houston, maybe one other one in Texas, but coffee company that's solar powered. There's not a whole lot. And so that makes us feel really good about, the way that we are producing the coffee, knowing that we're, saving on carbon footprint and all of that. But yeah, even in the way that we treat our employees, the way that we have relationships with our customers and with our suppliers, all of that, we wanted to really create and foster this community and for it to feel like we were having a meaningful impact.
So I found out, last week I came in and I did some scouting just to see what type of lighting I would need to bring. The lighting in here is spectacular. All of that packing up and stuff that I did at home was not necessary. But so I got a tour, and then I also started, as they were explaining things, I said, oh, that's like a sommelier of coffee. And so, in fact, it's an actual thing. It's a title. Mm-hmm. And apparently, Kenzel and Tio and Jay.
Yes.
Jay is her director of community.
Our culture champion. But also roaster, barista, everything.
So the three of them in this building are unicorns. There are only, did you say 600 people in the country? Mm-hmm. And tell us about what that title is. What's it called? It's the sommelier of coffee. Yeah. And the process that the three of you had to go through to get that certification.
Yes. So there is a certification called being a Q Arabica grader. So they have some for other strains of coffee, but the most common varietal common species that we all drink is Arabica. Right. So it's for determining like the quality and being able to discern, does this have defects? Can I tell how this was it processed with care? How was it roasted? And so really trying to identify which coffees have a better quality than others. So Pure Arabica Grader, that's the name of the certification. We had to go through, my husband and I, we took it a year before Jay. So ours, we had to do 19 tests. And so you have things like you have different acids, because with tasting, you have to be able to determine, is this more of a citric acid flavor, or is this more of a malic acid? So like
just
malic
is
like
all the different notes.
Exactly. There's being able to identify which one is a little over roasted, which one is a little under roasted. So there's a lot of different tests. I won't bore you with all of them.
But how long? I was shocked by how much coffee they had to drink.
Oh yeah, you end up going through over 300 cups through this. It's less than a week. It's 5-day experience, and then and so I was sick of coffee. I also did mine when I was pregnant, which is interesting because being pregnant, you have like a heightened sense of like smell. So it actually made kind of twofold. One, I think it was really easy to kind of detect some like subtle nuances and things. But I also was just like nauseous of like, okay, I can't keep drinking all this coffee. But we made it through.
So you guys, I'm checking to make sure you guys don't have any questions. And remember, if you're just hopping in, welcome to Coffee with Angel. This is our first live Coffee with Angel, the podcast. And we are here at Three Keys Coffee in Houston, the only solar-powered coffee roastery in Texas, I believe. And I'm talking to Kenzel Fallen. She is the co-founder and CEO, along with her husband, Teal, and their 3 board members, which are boys.
Right, they run the show.
The 3 board members. And so we're listening to her entrepreneurial journey. It's fascinating to me. You guys know I love coffee. So this has just been a fantastic opportunity. But I want you guys to drop in questions. They don't have to be about coffee. They could be, but it could be about her entrepreneurial journey. So one of the things that we talk about a lot is self-care, wellness, making time for yourself. Women are the world's caregivers. And I have been famously known for saying I could never have been an entrepreneur when I had kids in the house. Mm-hmm. She went to undergrad with one of them, so Keith. So she
doesn't have just any kids.
So she has
a very special journey with her.
And in her mind, she's probably thinking, "Yeah, you probably could have done it with him in the house." But I want to know, how do you find the time to protect your energy, to find time for yourself as a entrepreneur, a wife, a mom of 3, and whatever other relationships, you're a daughter, you may have siblings. Like, how do you, when last week when I told them you were coming on, I was like, I'm going to ask her when she sleeps. So like, how do you carve out that time for yourself?
It's not easy. I love this phrase saying, we, as in women who are entrepreneurs or are working, you don't have to have your own business, but, and who also have families, it's like, we can have it all, just not at the same time. Yeah. And that's what I have come to accept. One day I might be super mom, and that means nothing got done in the business. And then the next day, I'm all in the business and I'm checking off all of these things. And then my kids are like, but mom, like, can we go outside and play? So it's trying to find that time where I can at least focus wholeheartedly on what I'm doing, but then know that I will be stretched a bit thin, and I'm just going to have to like bounce around, and what needs to get done will get done, especially in terms of work and the business. We could have grown so much faster than we have. That was a very intentional choice to say no to a lot of things along the way, because I knew that it would come at the expense of my family's, happiness and even mine, because I wouldn't be able to be there for them. And so it's a trade-off. But yeah.
I love that. Oftentimes we talk about seasons of, where this is my season to grind over here, but you really micromanage it in a way of, no, today I'm focused here, and then tomorrow I'm focused here.
To the hour, what am I doing this hour? And that's how micro sometimes that I can't see too far ahead.
But I like that, because some of us, and I'll just speak for myself, I always have all the things going on in my head at the same time. Like I may be doing one thing, but I always have all the things going on in my head, especially the things that I know are also important. And so, weighing the drive to get it done against the guilt of, but I really didn't do that thing.
Right.
And there's so many sacrifices. They're the untold sacrifices of being an entrepreneur. Sleep being the least of them, but it is time with people that are important to you. And so I do think that strategy of carving it out, like this is the time I'm going to focus on that, and the other stuff will come. So great. Got a question. Are you planning on selling in mass, expanding the business, selling coffee in stores nationwide, or just keeping the business local? Well, I can always count on Shauna, because she's like 2 cards ahead, because she's already done all of those things, Shauna. So tell us where you can, normally you would save this at the end, but Shauna, you asked, so we're going to answer it now. Tell us to all the places you can find 3 Keys.
Okay, there's lots of places. So, but I do want to answer the question, because it is an interesting, it's definitely an interesting thing that I have been considering myself too. And how far do I want to take this? So you can find 3 Keys in Trader Joe's. We're in 9 states, mostly South Central, from as west as New Mexico, as east as Alabama, up to Tennessee, and over to Colorado. So those states is where you can find us in Trader Joe's.
On shelf.
On the shelf, yes. We're in all of the Houston area Whole Foods. So there's about 10 of them, the suburbs as well. You can find us online, so at 3keyscoffee.com. And that's actually how a lot of people have found us. So over 85% of our sales are actually outside of the city of Houston. So while we are based here in Houston, we don't consider ourselves like a Houston company, because our demographic and our customers that we've resonated the most with are outside of here. Right. I think I've sold more coffee to New York boroughs than I have to Dallas. And so a lot of people are really surprised to hear that. I think it's because of the nature of when we started being during the pandemic. All the shops were closed, and folks were looking for ways they were trying to be home baristas.
Right.
And so they were looking for beans that they could ship
Beyond
home.
the Keurig cup. Beyond the Keurig cup.
Yes, and trying things out at home. And so that was a great time for us, because we got some customers, and we still have some really awesome, amazing, loyal customers in like the Bay Area, in LA.
They were nesting. I think that's what it was called, nesting.
So yeah, I think those are the stores you can find us in. The online is always great. We also are proud to roast for some other restaurants and coffee shops that are in Houston as well. So sometimes you may have some beans, and they might be 3 Keys beans, but they're called something else. That we do that as well. But yeah, I've been mulling over, how far do I want to take it? Do I really want to be nationwide in stores, or do I want to grow more the cafe side? We have a cafe that's downtown in Houston. It's in the
so if you're Houston, listen up.
Yes, 712 Main Street in the Chase Building in the Finn. You can find our cafe at street level. So yeah, it's like, growing that a bit more. But yeah, these are all those those decisions from a strategic planning perspective that we're constantly having to weigh. And sometimes we may feel very convicted in one direction. And then we either realize, okay, I can't really do that right now. I gotta, move things around. But
I think that's very smart. One of the things, like, especially if you have a consumable product, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's food, beauty, clothing, or whatever, oftentimes people will say, oh, well, when are you going to be sold, anywhere, in any brick and mortar? And they really underestimate how difficult it is to succeed on shelf. Mm-hmm. And so slow and steady definitely wins the race, because the last thing you want to do is get this huge distribution that you actually are not built for. Right. Like, you don't have the infrastructure to support that from any level, not of course finances, but the marketing, the sales team. Right. Like, things don't just go on a shelf. Right. And then they're magically sold. Yeah. It actually doesn't work. If it were that easy, honey, stores would be the size of football fields. Mm-hmm. But it is very difficult to move product off shelf. So you do need to be very slow and very strategic. So I think that's a great strategy.
And that actually, I want to tell a little story of transparency, because I don't like to be all, roses and peaches, and I like to tell the failure stories too. So we actually are being pulled from the Walmart shelves. And I think that in hindsight, a decision was made. We didn't end up going direct with Walmart. We were in 120 Walmarts in Texas. And it was through a broker relationship. Oh, okay. With the broker, the initial person who made contact with us, they came to us. We didn't seek them out. Really understood our brand as we progressed through the process, because you have the conversations, but then you don't get on the shelves until
it's a year later.
Yeah. So by that point, the contacts we had, they had changed. Yeah. A lot of things changed. And so when we finally got on the shelves, I'm looking at the store list and I'm like, what? Like, where are these places? I mean, very rural areas of Texas.
It wasn't where your market was already established.
No. And so I'm trying to convey this to the broker. The broker has so many other concepts and clients. They're just like, yeah. And all I want to do is to just be able to go directly to my buyer, and I can't. And so we were like, okay, well, let's see how it goes. And they're like, well, you can invest more, you do more advertising. And I was like, it doesn't matter how much money I advertise to whatever.
Yeah, we're not gonna get on anybody's bad list. But I understand it's not where you
Yeah.
And no, I think that is very important for any entrepreneur that's listening. It can sound very exciting to have a particular retailer want your product, but if you know that's not where your current customer is, then you're really setting yourself up for failure. Right. And it just goes more into how complicated it truly is, and why it's so important when you find your favorite brand on a shelf anywhere, that you support them, because the amount of work that they've done. Like, nobody ever tells the whole story, because it sometimes sounds like complaining, but it's not. It's just so hard. So I just always say, support your favorite brands wherever you find them. But they're used to me being transparent. I often say that so much of the entrepreneurial story that you see on social media, it's just like ESPN highlights. It doesn't show the training the athlete goes through. It doesn't show the rehab when they're injured. It doesn't show the heartbreak when they're cut from a team. Like, you don't see that on ESPN Sports Center. You only see the good stuff. And I feel like that's what social media is for entrepreneurs. And so when people have struggles or setbacks, or they go through the regular learning curve, because nobody is actually sharing that, it feels like I've done something wrong. And when the truth is that, honey, that's literally just the journey. So Berna wants to know if she can find the products are you in New Jersey?
No, we're trying to make it to the Northeast because honestly, that's like where, like I said, our subscribers and everything.
Online. That's how I
do you have any grocery or retailer contacts up there? I'll take them.
But online, 3keys.com.
We ship all over. We ship all over the world.
Yeah.
We were actually, one thing that we were part of last year was this global decaf project. And so we were one of only 24 roasters in North America that were chosen for this global tasting where you take a decaf it was 3 different ways to process a decaf and then you taste it all over the world. But we had sales. We were shipping to South Africa, Israel, Germany, Mexico.
Coffee is a universal drink. It knows it has no boundaries from a socioeconomic. Like it's literally the world's. They say it's tea, but I think it's coffee. I really think coffee is the most universal.
It's because of Asia, but like
because there are more people,
right? Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, in the U.S. for sure,
yes,
it's coffee's number one.
And they do have decaf, and then they also have it's not a tea bag. What do you call them?
Well, they do. There's some that
it's
are
like a tea bag, but it's coffee in it.
Yeah, so we have a single serve pour over where that's a product and they're great for travel.
Yes.
Where you just hook it on your mug and you pour hot water on top. Those are great. We travel with those ourselves.
Yeah, so do I. So you don't have to have the bad hotel coffee.
Right.
Or go down to the overpriced Starbucks in the lobby, and there are also 50 people in line because they don't want the hotel coffee either. So you've got all options. If you're like a coffee snob like me and you want the beans and you're grinding, she's got that. She's got the grounds. Mm-hmm. She's got decaf. It's like all the things. And a very, very wide range. Like I'm a bold girl, but she has a very wide range of taste. Is that the right word?
I think so. Roast, taste,
okay.
All that roast levels, even processing and how it's some have more of a fruity component to it. Some are more chocolatey. Some are more nutty.
I like the chocolatey. Yeah. Okay. Shauna's got another question. So one of the benefits of the machines being solar powered versus regular, which is basically electricity, is there a difference in the taste of the coffee?
So these particular machines, they are, so you see this plate, it's like cast iron. These are some extremely heavy, solid machines. And I liken it a lot to cooking. It's like with your cookware, right? You can have a machine you can have like a pan that's just a flimsy, like aluminum pan. You can have like a nice solid cast iron. You're going to get different taste from the same thing you put in there. So the machines that they're roasted on do matter. And that makes a huge difference. We got these from the Netherlands. So imported those from the Netherlands. It's a company called Giesen. They're one of the top coffee roasters. If you like
it's
a car.
Beautiful. It's literally a work of art. It's beautiful.
It took us a lot to get this thing in here too. Oh my goodness. But in terms of the solar power part, I want to talk about that because there are emissions from the whole nature of roasting coffee. At least, there's an exhaust pipe that you see that goes out. And so having the solar powered facility was a way for us to try to offset some of that energy and, the emissions from that whole process to just reduce our carbon footprint. But
that's a great question, Sean. Mm-hmm. So by the way, Shauna is from the ATL.
Oh, okay, that's where my husband's from.
Yes. Shauna, and so when I did Coffee with Angel in Atlanta, she came, and so yep. Okay, so and also you guys, if you have questions, and I'm also checking on Instagram, see if you guys have any questions as well. What is a challenge of entrepreneurship that nobody talks about, but everyone should know?
Ooh, oh goodness.
What was the first thing that came to mind? Because I know it's a long list.
I think the reality of margins and profit and what you are really making. I get so many people that contact
That's our
me.
banking background, but it's true.
But it's true. I think people see, oh, you have your own business, or and you may even consider gross margin. And there's so many other hidden expenses that go into running a business that people don't consider until they're in it. Even this facility, you know why the lighting's so good? Is because it's a health code thing where I had to have certain lighting installed because you have to be able in a food facility to see. So
this lighting is chef's kiss, baby. Let me tell you, this lighting is chef's kiss.
And so there's so many things we learn along the way that we're like, oh, I have to do that. Okay, more money. Oh, I have to do that thing too. Oh, there's insurance for this, or there's the, extra shipping fees for this. I mean, there's so many hidden expenses. And so, and I think even coffee as an industry, a lot of people they think it's glamorous, or
they think beauty is glamorous too.
Probably, yeah, I can see that too. But we get folks who are like, I'm gonna have a coffee shop. I'm gonna leave my consulting business and have a coffee shop. I'm like, are you doing this for the money or because you love it? And they're like, well, I want to, have something where I can, make a lot. And so I'm like, stop. Let me stop you right there, because you're not stay at your consulting job. If that is your motivation, it's not gonna.
And this is, I want to be 100% clear. This is not about discouraging anyone from pursuing a passion and turning it into a profitable business. That's not what this is about at all. I just feel very strongly in entrepreneurs helping people understand what to expect along the way. And I think it's really important that when you decide to become an entrepreneur, or even if you decide to make any kind of pivot, because that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about major life pivots, and you could be pivoting careers. It doesn't mean that you're pivoting to become an entrepreneur. I think it's important to have people in your circle that maybe have taken a similar path, that can be a mentor and a guide and just a sounding board. Like, I have so many people like that I'm grateful for. I don't say so many, but I have a lot of people I use the same word, that I can bounce things off of. They're not in beauty by any stretch, but just to be like, how does that sound? Does that make sense to you? Or this is what I'm thinking. And they'll think, and they'll say, but have you considered A, B, C, D, E, F, G, da, da, da. So none of those things are bad. It's just really important to build that personal ecosystem. Some people call it your personal board of directors, that you can just bounce things off of. But I definitely don't want you guys to take away, don't do it, run away from life pivots. We're here for that. And here to support you.
I think it's about knowing your why. You just have to have the intention around, why am I doing this? Because you're going to have to continue to remind yourself of that.
Yes.
When you want to run away
Literally every day.
And say, okay, this is why I got into this. Let me stick to that. I think that having the intentionality is so key.
And it's also important to I have one of my guides. I was telling her about, it was when we launched in Walmart a few months ago, and she was like, well, did you celebrate that? And I said, well, no, because I got to do blah, 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 blah. And she's like, but you have to stop and celebrate that. And I think women, more than men, we have to learn how to celebrate ourselves and celebrate milestones and victories, because otherwise it just becomes a heavy weight. And so, you guys remind I always say, you got to pat yourself on the back. You got to encourage yourself sometimes, because that fortifies you for the next thing. So I would say, regardless of age, this is going to be an interesting follow-up question, but many people are simply afraid to move or act on a dream. So what advice would you give someone, despite everything we've said about the challenges of entrepreneurship? Neither of us would trade this journey for anything.
No. Yeah.
Like I every single day, I would do it again. So what advice would you give someone who's just afraid to take that step forward?
I think I would say to just ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Think about the downside potential. And if it isn't so bad, if it's something you can recover from, then just do it, because you will learn so much. You will gain so much that you don't even expect to gain. You will challenge yourself. You will impress yourself at what you are able to accomplish.
I can't believe I did that.
Yes. I always looked at something ahead and I'm like, how am I going to do this? Right. And then I look back and I'm like, I did that. Like I did that. And it's not just about us or, any sort of like a ego thing, but it's also like my kids are watching that. Yeah. My kids see, okay, mommy didn't give up. Mommy got frustrated and hurt, and they get to see the whole journey of overcoming things and being able to grow and become better from it. And that's the main thing is like, I'm always telling my team too, like, we're going to mess up. Things are not going to be perfect. You're going to go a wrong direction. We're going to do something wrong. As long as we learn from it, then I'm okay with that because we're stronger and we're better.
And that's the only way. Like, I mean, it's like a kid learning how to walk. Just because they fall, they don't stop trying to walk. Right. We can learn so much from kids. One of the things I really loved when I was here last week, and when we do the editing, I'm going to add a lot of the behind the scenes. Like her kids, what are they?
8, 6, and 3, all boys.
But they were here in the mix. We were in the tasting room and they were just sitting there watching it all. And I just thought how great of an experience that is for them. Like they literally get to see you and Tio build something with your hands. The 8-year-old is like, they don't have a life. They have no memory. None of them of mom and dad not just moving, doing all the things. And so I think that is such an incredible experience. And I have another friend, Kim Roxy, she's a beauty founder, and her daughter, and I always tell her, because her daughter is probably about 11 or 12 now, and I always say, she's going to grow up thinking there's literally nothing I can't do. Right. Because she has seen her mom just build this business with her bare hands, get out there and grind every day. That is such a gift to be able to give to your children. So I think that's incredible. So I know the first jazz musician. Oh, Berna says she loves the fact that jazz musicians are being recognized.
Yes, we've got.
And she can't wait to try the coffee.
Like Miles Davis back here. We also love art and what we do. So there's like a Basquiat that's like Charlie Parker. And anyway, we're all about that. Check out the playlist. We're on it's Spotify and Apple Music.
And here's the remember she mentioned that every bag has a QR code, and that's the QR code. This is what I'm enjoying right now. This is Bourbon Day Kilimanjaro. I'm really enjoying that. This is a Tanzania. I'm really enjoying that now. So now Kenzel is young enough to be my daughter, or I'm old enough to be her mom, however you want to say that. I already told you she went to undergrad with Keith. So this is a funny question in my opinion, but I'm going to ask her this. If you could go back and tell give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh. Don't count yourself out. I think especially as women, and a lot of times I've been like either the only woman or the only woman of color, and the imposter syndrome can be real. And it took me a while to realize that a lot of the other faces and folks that when I was younger, I thought potentially knew more, or they don't. And so, and you get into enough rooms and you hear enough people, and you're like, why did I should have spoke up much sooner.
If that's all you got.
Right. And so I think not doubting yourself, knowing that you deserve to be wherever you are, whatever table you're at, whatever room and space that you have been invited to. And even if you didn't invite and you put yourself in there, you had the gumption to do that, and that stands for something. And I think I probably would have told myself to be a bit more, willing to just speak up and feel that I deserve to be in those places.
And that you're just as smart as them. They're actually like, they're okay. They're not smarter than you.
Right.
They might be louder.
Right. Yes.
And they might be more confident, but they're not smarter.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of having so many different perspectives and being able to, share your own perspective, but also learn and listen from others. Like I'm like you said, you talk to folks who aren't in the beauty industry.
Yeah.
I love hearing other perspectives from other industries because there's still a lot of things that I can apply to my coffee.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it's just having that diversity of opinion and thought and perspective is so key. And I think that's voices like ours are really important to have and be presented.
I would say everyone that I work with, I'm old enough to be their mom.
But you don't look it.
Literally, but it's a different way of thinking. That's why when I put the Chris Brown song on the Instagram, my son was like, "What do you know about?"
Boy, get out of here! Leave your mom alone.
I gave him the eye roll emoji. Vivian says you're giving great advice, challenging and rewarding. Absolutely, thank you, Vivian. Oh, Brenda wants to know. Yes, Brenda, she has a decaf version. Yes, she does.
We only do Swiss water processed decaf, which is the only chemical-free way to extract the caffeine. Okay. So they use only water. It has to go to a facility in Canada. They use only water. It's a special process. But what you get is the true inherent taste of the coffee.
Not that weird.
It chemically sort of flavor. So people are always surprised when they taste our decafs and they're like, it tastes like regular coffee. I'm like, yeah, it is. I mean, it just doesn't have the caffeine. It is still the coffee. So yes, we have Swiss water processed decaf.
Thanks, Vivian. That was a great question. Yeah. So what trends in coffee culture are you excited about right now?
So the latest is a new product that we have, which is, and it's a trend because a lot more people are drinking their coffee cold. A lot of younger demographics, especially Gen Z,
I just started experimenting with
cold brew and the iced coffees. And so we have a can. I should have grabbed one so I can product placement. But hey, Jay.
This is live, boo. If you can get it, you literally saw me get up and turn the other two cameras on because I had forgotten to turn the other two cameras on.
So we have a can.
She's looking for a can.
Oh yeah, the shandy. Can I get a shandy?
Yeah, this is live.
So we have a canned cold brew lemonade. It's amazing. I gotta send.
Wait, lemonade with caffeine?
It's when I tell people it's coffee, caffeine, and lemonade, they're like,
y'all been holding out on me?
No, but it is amazing. Is that one cold? Oh, that one's cold. Yeah, so you should try it.
I am totally trying this.
Yeah.
So it's like refreshing and like a refresher.
And perfect for, Houston, we get hot weather all year round, essentially. So it's cold brew season year round. So yes, that is something I'm excited about.
I am very excited about this.
Yeah, the new products, cold brew, and that sort of innovation.
Awesome. So final question. How do you want 3 keys to be remembered?
Oh, we want to inspire. We want to fuel creativity. That's what that if that becomes our story, that a person felt that they could go out and accomplish whatever was ahead of them at that day because they started their day off with 3 Keys coffee. That's all.
And a cool jazz playlist.
Yes. So I want to inspire creativity of all forms, and we want to have a positive impact on our people.
Or you're already doing that. You're already doing that. This has been a pleasure. I am so excited. This was our first podcast. Kenzel is our first host.
But she didn't tell me this was going to be like the first podcast. I was thinking that we were doing the live.
This is the live, but I'm gonna take the behind the scenes from last week and fold it in and then make it like a show. So for those of you who hopped on late, good morning, happy Friday. You know that normally after we wrap up on Friday morning, the replay is immediately posted to YouTube. So today's live is going to be a couple of days before I repost it, because I'm going to pull in the behind the scenes from last week, because I want y'all to see a little bit of glimpse of coffee heaven. And also Kenzel did this great tasting for me and explained how they grade the beans that they get in and determine, like, I don't want to say the quality, but some of it is the quality of the beans, right? So I just happened to turn the camera on, but I think it was fascinating. I think you will love it too. Even if you're not like a coffee addict like me, I just think the process, and I think I'm just a big fan of pulling back the curtains to see how things are made. So we're going to do a giveaway. If you're still hanging on, we're going to do a giveaway. You got to put it in the chat. I want to know who are the members of Kenzel's board of directors. And if whoever is the first person to put that in the chat, I am going to send you, well, I'll communicate with you to decide, do you have a coffee grinder? If you don't have a grinder, I'll go on and get you the ones that are already ground.
It's better to do the whole thing.
I know, but so you will get a 3 keys gift. Shauna's on it.
Right, A+.
Well, Tio will be happy to know that a fellow Atlantan, right one. Okay, yes. Yeah. The board of directors are her 3 boys. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Also, remember the Maison Lo-Fi Lounge. Thank you, Shauna. The Maison Lo-Fi Lounge. Don't forget to, I'm uploading a new playlist tomorrow morning. So I started a lo-fi channel on YouTube because I listened to it in the background while I'm working, and I kept having to change stations depending on my mood and where I was in the day. So I thought, I'm going to create my own station, and I'm going to have all the different moods on that station. So that's what the Maison Lo-Fi Lounge is.
Did you know we have a lo-fi product? It's a half.
Yes.
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 So it's the half caffeine. So we do the half decaf, half caffeinated.
Yep. So don't forget to subscribe. I'll put it in the show notes. I'm not at the kitchen sink, so this is a whole lot harder. Thank you guys so much. I will see you next Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern for Coffee with Angel. I'll be back in the kitchen. Bye. Thank you, Kenzel. This was so fun. Oh, this is awesome. Thank you guys. Bye. Oh, thank you. Oh, she's loving the music. Awesome.
I know. I wish we could have had some playing, but copyright and stuff.